The silent departure, the crystalline towers of the Galactic Trade Council stretched toward the artificial sky of Station Prime, their surfaces reflecting the light of 1,000 worlds. Inside the great assembly hall, representatives from 47 different species sat in their specialized chambers, each designed for their unique biology. The air hummed with translation devices working overtime to convert the countless languages into something resembling universal understanding. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood at the center of the circular chamber, her simple gray diplomatic uniform stark against the elaborate decorations worn by the alien delegates. She had served as humanity's representative for 8 years, and in that time, she had learned to read the subtle signs of alien emotion. Right now, those signs were not promising. Council Leader Vorthok rose from his elevated platform, his massive, reptilian frame casting a shadow over the human delegation. His scales shifted from deep green to an aggressive orange as he prepared to speak. The Saurian species had dominated galactic politics for centuries, and Vorthok embodied their natural arrogance. The Council has reached a decision regarding human participation in galactic affairs, Vorthok announced, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had never been challenged. After careful consideration of your species' contributions, over the past 15 years, we have concluded that your services are no longer required. Alina kept her expression neutral, though she felt her aide, David Park, tense beside her. Around the chamber, alien representatives shifted in their seats, some with satisfaction, others with barely concealed anticipation. The ethereal collective pulsed with silver light, their energy forms dancing with what Alina recognized as pleasure. The insectoid hive mind clicked their mandibles in rhythmic approval. The human approach to problem solving is too chaotic, continued Vorthok. Your species lacks the efficiency and precision that modern galactic civilization requires. Your medical practices are outdated. Your engineering is unnecessarily complex, and your diplomatic methods are far too emotional. Alina nodded slowly, her hands clasped behind her back. I understand, Council Leader. May I ask what timeline the Council has in mind for our withdrawal? 6 months, Vorthok replied with a dismissive wave of his clawed hand. That should be sufficient time to transfer all responsibilities to more capable species. The ethereals will assume control of your medical facilities. The hive mind will manage your engineering projects, and the Saurians will take over your diplomatic posts. Very well, Alina said simply. We will begin preparations immediately. The simplicity of her response caught many alien representatives off guard. They had expected protests, arguments, or at least some display of human emotion. Instead, Elena bowed slightly and turned to leave the chamber with her small delegation. That's it, called out Ambassador Zephyrs of the Ethereal Collective, her energy form shimmering with confusion. No objections, no negotiations. Alina paused at the chamber entrance. The Council has made its decision. We respect that decision and will comply fully. She looked back at the assembled representatives. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors. As the human delegation disappeared through the chamber doors, an uncomfortable silence fell over the assembly. Several representatives exchanged glances, surprised by the lack of dramatic confrontation they had expected. Within hours of the Council's announcement, something remarkable began happening across galactic space. Human personnel at thousands of installations received encrypted messages through their private communication networks. The orders were simple and clear. Begin immediate withdrawal procedures. Remove all human modifications and improvements. and prepare for complete evacuation. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the central medical facility of Station Prime, watching as her human staff methodically packed their equipment. The facility had been humanity's crown jewel, a state-of-the-art hospital that had treated over 3 million patients from dozens of different species. Under human management, it had achieved a 97% success rate in treating previously incurable alien diseases. Dr. Chen called Dr. Xylophone, her crystalline colleague who would be taking over the facility. "Surely you're not removing the quantum diagnostic arrays. Those are integrated into the station's infrastructure." Sarah looked up from the medical scanner she was carefully dismantling. "These are human-designed improvements to the original ethereal equipment. The base systems will remain functional, but our modifications come with us." "But those modifications increase diagnostic accuracy by 340%, Dr. Xylophone protested, his crystal form flickering with concern. "Without them, we'll be operating at previous generation capabilities." The Council was very clear about human methods being outdated. Sarah replied calmly, "I'm sure you'll find more efficient alternatives." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. Captain Marcus Rodriguez oversaw the evacuation of the Outer Rim Defense Network, where human tactical expertise had maintained peace for over a decade. The defense stations had been built by various alien races, but human innovation had connected them into a unified early warning system that could detect hostile activity across 40 light years. "Captain," said Admiral Kethfer of the Saurian fleet, "your tactical prediction algorithms are integrated into our defense matrix. Removing them would leave significant gaps in our coverage." Marcus continued supervising the removal of human-designed computer cores. "I'm afraid those algorithms are based on human analytical methods that the Council finds insufficient. You'll need to develop your own approaches. But our enemies have been adapting to your tactical style for years," Kethfer insisted. "Without that framework, we'll be vulnerable until we can establish new patterns." "I have confidence in Saurian military capabilities," Marcus replied diplomatically. "Your species has been conducting warfare for millennia. I'm sure you'll adapt quickly." The withdrawal accelerated as the months passed. Human engineers left behind carefully sanitized technical manuals that covered basic operations, but none of the creative solutions they had developed over years of practical experience. Human doctors transferred patient records and standard treatment protocols, but not the intuitive understanding that had made them so effective at treating alien physiology. Technician Zara Okafor was among the last humans to leave the massive power generation facility on Kepler Station. The facility provided energy to 17 different star systems, and its smooth operation was critical to the economic stability of the entire sector. The original alien design systems had been prone to cascade failures, but human modifications had eliminated those problems. "The base systems are all functional," Zara explained to her replacement, an engineer from the Hivemind Collective. "The maintenance schedules are clearly documented, and all safety protocols are in the technical manuals." The insectoid engineer's compound eyes examined the control panels with mechanical precision. The human modifications appear to have improved efficiency by 23%. "Why are you removing them?" "Because they represent human thinking," Zara replied, disconnecting the last of the human-designed control circuits. "The Council has determined that human approaches are too chaotic for modern galactic civilization. These modifications relied on human intuition and problem-solving, methods that your species will find more efficient alternatives for." As Zara packed her tools, she noticed the Hivemind engineer studying the technical manuals with increasing agitation. The documents covered the basic operations, but they couldn't capture the years of experience that had taught human engineers to recognize the subtle signs of impending system failures. The economic implications of the human withdrawal became apparent as trade routes began experiencing disruptions. Human cargo pilots had developed an intricate understanding of galactic commerce, knowing not just the official shipping schedules, but the informal networks that kept goods flowing efficiently. Their replacement by alien crews led to delays and miscommunications that rippled through the entire galactic economy. Ambassador Alina Vasquez was among the final humans to leave Council space. As her transport prepared to depart Station Prime, she stood on the observation deck, looking out at the massive structure that had been humanity's gateway to galactic civilization. The station bustled with activity as alien species rushed to fill the gaps left by human departure. "Ambassador," came a voice behind her. She turned to see Trade Minister Gulthok, whose slug-like form showed signs of stress. "Are you certain? There's no way to reconsider. The transition has been more challenging than we anticipated." Alina smiled sadly. The Council made its decision based on careful consideration of human capabilities. We wouldn't want to interfere with the more efficient methods that will replace our outdated approaches. But the supply chain disruptions alone have cost the galactic economy billions of credits, Gulthak protested. Your species had developed distribution networks that we're struggling to replicate. I have every confidence that galactic civilization will find better solutions, Alina replied. After all, human methods were too chaotic and inefficient for modern needs. As her transport pulled away from Station Prime, Alina could see the lights of the massive station beginning to flicker in unusual patterns. The first signs of system instability were already appearing as alien technicians struggled to maintain the complex infrastructure without human expertise. The human exodus was nearly complete. Across 47 star systems, the last human transports were departing, carrying with them 15 years of accumulated knowledge, experience, and quiet competence. The aliens watched them go with a mixture of relief and growing unease. Within days of the final human departure, the first major system failure occurred. A power grid on Altair Prime collapsed when alien technicians attempted routine maintenance without understanding the human modifications that had been keeping it stable. The blackout lasted 18 hours and affected 3 million inhabitants. But the aliens remained confident. They had removed the inefficient human element from their civilization. Surely, any temporary disruptions would be quickly resolved by superior alien methods. The Council congratulated itself on a difficult but necessary decision. They had no idea what was coming. The reckoning 3 months after the last human transport vanished into hyperspace. The first emergency session of the Galactic Council convened. In what had once been an atmosphere of celebration, the great assembly hall that had witnessed humanity's quiet departure now echoed with panicked voices and the harsh light of crisis displays. Council leader Vorthok stood before a chamber filled with increasingly desperate representatives. His scales had shifted to a dull gray, the color of Saurian stress, and his usual commanding presence had been replaced by barely controlled anxiety. The holographic displays around the chamber showed a cascade of red warning indicators from across galactic space. "The situation reports continue to worsen," Vorthok announced, his voice lacking its former authority. "We have critical failures in 17 different sectors. Economic disruption affecting 43 trade routes, and what appears to be a complete breakdown of our early warning systems." Ambassador Zephy's of the ethereal collective pulsed with erratic silver light, her energy form unstable with worry. The medical facilities are experiencing catastrophic failures. Without human diagnostic protocols, we're seeing treatment success rates drop by 60%. The Central Hospital on Station Prime reported 27 deaths yesterday alone from conditions that were routinely treatable under human administration. The chamber filled with agitated sounds as representatives from different species processed. The implications? The insectoid hive mind delegates clicked their mandibles in rapid, nervous patterns, while the crystalline Zephyrians chimed with discordant tones of distress. The power generation facility on Kepler Station has suffered 3 major failures this month, reported Engineer Prime Zerx of the hive mind. Our technicians have been unable to maintain the stability that human modifications provided. Each failure has resulted in cascading power outages affecting multiple star systems. Trade Minister Gulthic's slug-like form was covered in stress secretions as he delivered his report. The economic situation is approaching complete collapse. Without human cargo pilots and their informal distribution networks, shipping costs have increased by 400%. Several colony worlds are reporting critical shortages of basic supplies. But it was Admiral Kethva's report that sent a chill through the chamber. The proud Saurian military leader's bearing had changed dramatically since the humans' departure. His usual martial confidence had been replaced by the haunted expression of someone who had learned too late the value of what he had lost. The Outer Rim Defense Network has suffered total failure, Kethva announced, his voice hollow with defeat. Without human tactical algorithms and predictive analysis, we were blind to the Void Reaper incursion. They struck 6 colony worlds before we even detected their presence. The chamber erupted in shocked exclamations. The Void Reapers were a nomadic species known for their brutality and their ability to exploit weakness in galactic defenses. For years, human tactical expertise had kept them at bay, predicting their movements and coordinating responses that prevented major attacks. "How many casualties?" asked Vorthok, though his expression suggested he already feared the answer. "Preliminary reports indicate over 200,000 dead across the 6 worlds," Kethva replied. "The Reapers have established forward bases in 3 systems and show no signs of withdrawing. Without human strategic insight, our response has been ... inadequate." Dr. Xylophon stepped forward, his crystalline form flickering with desperation. "The medical crisis is accelerating beyond our ability to control. We have confirmed outbreaks of Altarian fever on 12 worlds, and without human disease control protocols, we cannot contain the spread. The mortality rate has increased from 3% under human treatment to 47% under our current methods." "What about the technical manuals the humans left?" demanded Vorthok. "Surely those contain the information needed to maintain their systems." Engineer Prime Zerx's compound eyes registered what humans would have recognized as embarrassment. "The manuals cover basic operations, but they lack the practical experience that made human methods effective. We have discovered that human engineers made thousands of undocumented modifications based on their understanding of system behavior. Without that knowledge, we are essentially operating blind." The truth was becoming clear to everyone in the chamber. The humans had not simply performed tasks that could be easily transferred to other species. They had developed an intricate understanding of galactic civilization's infrastructure, building upon their natural adaptability and problem-solving, abilities to create solutions that no other species had been able to replicate. "We need to contact the humans," said Ambassador Zephy's her energy form pulsing with urgent necessity. Perhaps they would be willing to provide consultation services or technical support during this transition period. Warthek's scales shifted to a deeper grey. Attempts at communication have already been made. The human government has been polite but firm in their response. A holographic display activated, showing a recorded message from the human colonial authority. The image showed a middle-aged human woman in a simple uniform, her expression professional but distant. "This is Director Sarah Martinez of the Human Colonial Authority. We have received your communications regarding technical assistance and consultation services. While we appreciate the Council's situation, we must respectfully decline. The Council determined that human methods were outdated and inefficient for modern galactic civilization. We would not want to interfere with the superior approaches that have replaced our inadequate systems." The message continued with the same polite but implacable tone. "We wish the Galactic Council success in their endeavors and have full confidence in their ability to resolve these temporary challenges. Humanity has redirected its focus toward the development of our own independent colonies and will not be available for consultation in Council space." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The humans were not going to rescue them. They had accepted the Council's judgment and moved on, leaving the aliens to face the consequences of their decision. "What about Ambassador Elena Vasquez?" asked Trade Minister Golfic desperately. She maintained good relationships with many species. Perhaps she could be persuaded to intercede. Vortok activated another display, showing a recent intelligence report from the human colonies. "Ambassador Vasquez has been promoted to Director of Colonial Development. She is currently overseeing the establishment of 17 new human settlements in the Outer Spiral. According to our sources, she has not made any statements regarding the Council's situation." The reports continued to pour in, each more devastating than the last. The carefully balanced trade agreements that had maintained economic stability were collapsing as species that had relied on human mediation returned to old disputes. The research facilities that had made breakthrough discoveries under human management were producing nothing but basic maintenance reports. "The terraforming project on New Kepler has been abandoned," reported Environmental Coordinator Zilth. "Without human ecological expertise, we cannot maintain the atmospheric balance. The colonists are being evacuated. The diplomatic mission to the outer territories has failed," added Foreign Minister Gorth. "Without human negotiators, we cannot establish the cultural bridges necessary for successful first contact protocols." Council Leader Vorthok looked around the chamber at the faces of defeat and desperation. Every species represented here had contributed to the decision to dismiss humanity. They had all agreed that humans were inefficient, outdated, and unnecessarily complex in their approaches. "We could offer them incentives," suggested Ambassador Zephys. "Better contracts, improved status, formal recognition of their contributions." "The humans have established their own interstellar confederation," Vorthok replied wearily. "Their new territories are rich in resources, and their technology has advanced significantly since leaving Council space. They no longer need what we can offer." The bitter irony was not lost on anyone present. By dismissing humanity as inadequate, the Council had freed them to pursue their own development. The humans had taken their skills, their adaptability, and their quiet competence and built something new. Meanwhile, galactic civilization was crumbling without the foundation that human expertise had provided. "What are our options?" asked Admiral Kethver, his military bearing unable to hide his desperation. "We adapt," Vorthok said simply. We learn to operate without human assistance. We develop our own solutions to replace what we have lost. How long will that take? Asked Dr. Xylophon. The question hung in the air without answer. The aliens had built their civilization on the assumption that their natural abilities made them superior to humanity. They had never considered that human adaptability and problem-solving skills might be irreplaceable. Trade Minister Gulthak spoke what everyone was thinking. We made a mistake. We dismissed the humans because we thought they were inefficient. But we failed to understand that their methods worked. They might not have been elegant or sophisticated, but they were effective. Their chaos was actually creativity, added Engineer Prime Z. Their emotional responses were actually intuitive problem-solving. Their complex approaches were actually comprehensive solutions. The chamber filled with the sound of various species expressing regret in their own ways. The ethereals dimmed. Their lights, the crystallines chimed mournfully, and the saurians shifted to colors of shame and loss. We have learned the difference between efficiency and effectiveness, Vorthok said quietly. The humans were not efficient in the way we understood the term, but they were remarkably effective at achieving results. 6 months after the human departure, the Galactic Council had been restructured 3 times in attempts to address the ongoing crisis. The proud civilization that had dismissed humanity as outdated was now struggling to maintain basic functions. Reports reached the Council that the human colonies were thriving. Their new confederation had developed technologies that surpassed anything in Council space. Their medical advances had eliminated diseases that still plagued galactic civilization. Their defensive capabilities had proven so effective that even the Void Reapers avoided human territory. Ambassador Elena Baskis, now Director of Colonial Development, had been elected to the Human Colonial Senate. In her inaugural address, she spoke about the importance of cooperation, mutual respect, and the value of diverse approaches to problem-solving. She made no mention of the Galactic Council. The humans had moved on. They had built something new and better, leaving the aliens to face the consequences of their pride and prejudice. In the great assembly hall of Station Prime, now dimly lit due to ongoing power failures, the remaining council members continued their desperate attempts to maintain galactic civilization. They had learned too late that efficiency without effectiveness was meaningless, and that sometimes the most valuable contributions came from those who thought differently. The humans had walked away without a word of protest or anger. They had simply accepted the council's judgment and departed with quiet dignity. Now, as galactic civilization crumbled around them, the aliens finally understood what they had lost. The Council had feared human chaos and inefficiency. Now they feared the silence that had followed humanity's departure, silence that spoke louder than any words of the true value of what they had so carelessly thrown away.